I think this is a good time to talk about how much macro geopolitical forces are having an effect on the market, specifically tariffs. Last year, Graham, we talked about being bored of talking about stable coins. Well, tariffs seem to be, I think, something that we're going to be spending a lot of time on, at least in the first half of the year, talking about. Anyway, there's a new wrinkle here, which could have huge effects in the short term. Trump this week threatened to hit Canada with 100% tariffs. This would be, I think, a big deal in the short term and is something to be aware about for anybody who's trading crypto on a short time frame, because this could hit any time, right? Like, you just don't know when these things can be slammed home, and you'd have to deal with it. Little dramatic backstory to this. Trump was asked about a deal that Canada is in the process of making with China. And he said on January 16th, that's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. He's talking about Carney making a deal with China. So at the beginning, yeah, good. What's good for Canada, Canada should do what's good for them. And now he said, China will eat Canada alive, destroying their businesses and social fabric and general way of life. I actually agree with the latter, but that's just one man's opinion. So flip-flopped, some would say, and threatening huge tariffs on that. Again, if this were to happen, the poly market would just blow up because I think it would have an immediate effect, 100% tariffs on Canada, at least in the short term.
The threat of tariffs does have an immediate effect. That's what we've seen over the last year. You threaten tariffs, it tanks the markets. What actually happens is it has a much longer more delayed effect.
Well, yeah, that's true. But in the cases remember last year, a couple times where America did just institute huge tariffs on China. Do you remember those headlines? The tariffs are now 144% or something like that. I mean, and that actually came down and it was released. Every time that happened, it dinged the market. And so I think it progressively mattered less, but we really haven't had this kind of tariff escalation for some time now. So I imagine that desensitivity to it has abated. And if America actually did go through with officially saying tariffs on Canadian goods are 100%, I imagine it would have a pretty, at least in the short term, a pretty big effect. Also, can I just go on a slight rant now?
Well,
this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. America is Canada's number one trading partner. We buy more things from Canada than anyone else in the world. China buys 3-4% of Canadian goods. China is a mass net exporter. This is a terrible deal for Canada. What are they thinking? This is insanity to me. I just think it's crazy.
Well, regardless of whether it's a good deal or not for Canada, I think the more important thing here is the fact that this whole issue has come up. Canada, made some deal with China, and then now Trump's angry about that because of this whole realignment of, are you with us or are you against us? And to me, that whole issue is the real reason why we're seeing, for example, the flight to precious metals, right? It all starts from the US seizing Russia's assets and the breakdown of the United States as a Pax Americana, that whole thing is breaking down. This is just further evidence. Canada fighting with its closest ally, they literally share the world's longest land border in the world. You can't distinguish between Canadians and Americans. Which one of us is Canadian? Which one of us is American, David? No one knows.
Oh, the real ones know. The real ones know what it's about.
Yeah. So the whole point though is just that the fact that there's this tantrum is happening in public is just further evidence of the breakdown of the current order, and that's what to me has the implications for Bitcoin and other Bitcoin-like assets, maybe gold, whatever, right?
Well, I mean, I think I would not put Bitcoin with gold at all right now. I feel like it's been proven over the past year and certainly January that when you're worried about risk, there's clearly one asset you go to, and it's not Bitcoin, not even close. So that's at least in the short term, right? Medium term, whatever, fine. But again, I was just saying, like, with this tariff stuff, because it could happen anytime, right? That's the thing, is like, how can you predict if and when the tariff news slams down? It just makes, I feel like, trading on that in the short term really risky. I think you and I agree on the mid to long term, but I don't know. I would not mess with this on a short time frame.